Hey, good people. This is Krista coming to you to talk about break-ins in the lives of targeted individuals because I have encountered them for quite some time now. Well, at least a few years. But beyond that, I don't know. I do know it happened when I was in Utah, it happened in Idaho, and now it's happened in my current state. And as a TI, yes, I've moved a lot. Unfortunate, and there is no perfect place, that's for sure. And the problem just seems to get worse. But anyway, this isn't about me. But actually, this is just some real world examples of what they do and what to look for because some of the break-ins are straight up witchcraft, where they'll leave a piece of their hair. If they leave their DNA in your home, I would call these military grade witches, warlocks, sorcerers, but they leave a piece of their DNA in your home that gives them access to attack you at night spiritually. In the dream realm, they might try to like one warlock came and astral projected and slept with me in my sleep. It was not good. It was not my will. I broke that. We gotta really cancel every dream, even if you don't recall your dreams. It's really important to cancel them because the enemy is always trying to program the lives of people for negative, bad things. So there's that, but I digress. So I learned this from another TI, and I don't want to say that person's name because I don't want that person's targeting to get worse. So I want to protect that person. But this person mentioned the DNA, leaving DNA behind. And the more I started finding these hairs that weren't my color, that were white, that match up to a woman who's working with her boyfriend, well, maybe their boyfriend, girlfriend, or it's just a front, I don't know, in the fusion center in the apartment across the way from me. She drives a fancy car like this. And they switch out cars a lot. You know, they get all these fancy cars that, her boyfriend drives like two fancy, like a fancy new Jeep and a large truck. And, they live in apartments. Like, come on, like you can afford to live in a house. But anyway, the pattern was of this white hair. She sort of dyed it this sort of white, sort of trendy color, I guess that Lady Gaga had a while ago, that kind of platinum. It's not blonde, but it's like white. And I found I don't have a ton of white hair, even though I'm a little bit over middle age, um, in my 50s. I don't have a lot of white hair, and the pattern of where these hairs were left in my house, like one by my bed on my nightstand, but I had like a mat, like a almost like a placemat covering the table. So it was a light color, so it was hard to spot the hair. And I don't, who knows how long it'd been there. The other thing they might do is go to the bathroom in your place. And then if they leave a little bit of like, this is crass, I don't like saying this, but they leave a little bit of urine like underneath the seat, underneath the bottom of the seat, so it's like not really visible until you clean. If you don't have a man in the house, you're not lifting the seat, you don't see that. But I noticed this once. I'm like, this is really strange why this would be here. Like, I don't really notice this for myself as a woman to have this in this spot. So that's what they do is they'll leave parts of their DNA in your home to attack you, to attack you spiritually, to try to take a person out spiritually. There was, and maybe there still is a military program, these remote viewing programs were real, and also Project Looking Glass. There was movie Men that Stare at Goats, but I haven't seen the movie, but I think it's partly about that. But there's also programs, there's sort of secret, like super soldier type programs where they train people. I think they're called theta, like theta brainwave state assassins. So they try to attack people spiritually at night so that there's no trace, like just say like, oh, person died in their sleep of natural causes. I believe that's still going on based on some of the spiritual attacks I've encountered at night. It's only by the grace of God that I'm still here. He clearly wants me to still continue living through this abomination of a program. But yeah, I just want to share a little bit about that. The other thing I should say about this woman and her alleged boyfriend is they will do weird things like hang out in the back of one of his trucks and like make out as if they're like 16, 20 years old and they are pushing 40. So really odd behavior, really, unsavory, actually. I think, like, I don't care to watch people make out. But they'll do it that, they might park right underneath my house, whereas they don't live in this section. And she'll park right outside my front door. There's two spots to the right or left where I can park with a green grass median, and she'll park right outside my door. It's just, and that's the definition of witchcraft is intimidation, manipulation, and control. Those are three signs of witchcraft. Now someone might not be into straight up witchcraft. They could be um just a manipulative person, but those are still signs of intimidation, manipulation, control. So that's what she does. The other thing is because I came out of MK Ultra and have had handlers and programmers, I was born in the 60s. What they do is they send in people who look like someone from your past. I think it's more of like a threat to keep a person, like they think it's going to keep a person under control to behave in a particular way, to know that person still has an influence in your life. So this person had her hair dyed a color of a previous handler, um, and looked kind of like her, not a lot. They also send in people with the same names or very similar names. They'll do that as well. But this woman, I thought her hair was white. Then recently it was in a ponytail. It started growing in dark brown. So it's just a front. It's just a costume. It's not, I wouldn't call it street theater, but it's acting. These people are straight up acting, and they're trying to act like people from my past in order to create some sort of response. But then, she and her boyfriend are really buff, like muscular, like they clearly go to the gym a lot. So that's why I like to call them military grade witches, because I believe they have access to my home and they are coming in and putting their DNA in here. And so the thing with witchcraft is if you expose it, it no longer works. And that's why I'm talking about it today. And for people to be aware of DNA in your home if you have break-ins. So the jig is up, people. For all the perps listening, you're exposed. Your DNA in my home will no longer work in the name of Yeshua. So thanks for listening. Have a blessed day.